What on earth is going on with this figure? Hey guys, what's up? Plastic Guy here, coming back with another figure review, where today we're taking a look at this reissued Mafex Spider-Man action figure. And so here we have our Spider-Man reissue in the Mafex packaging, and I definitely want to take a closer look at this. We have two Spider-Man logos up at the top here, both looking pretty cool. The Amazing Spider-Man, Marvel. Awesome Spider-Man tag here, just like the comics. I really like that. It says 6" 075 Mafex. We get the figure, all the accessories. I cannot wait to get this thing out the packaging. The Amazing Spider-Man image of the figure, cool comic art in the background. You can see all the tags here. Another image of the figure on the side. More tags down at the bottom. Loads of images of Spider-Man on the back, and they all look fantastic. All the different heads here. This box is really sick. I do really like this. All the colours are amazing as well. Yeah, let's not wait any longer. Let's get this thing out of the packaging. And here is our Spidey reissue from Mafex out of the box, and he's looking pretty good. He comes with a lot of accessories which we look at first here in these videos, so let's try and power through them. This figure did come with a display stand that I'm not really going to muck about with at the moment. I've got plenty of flight stands, but definitely important to note that we do get a flight stand with this Spider-Man. And then we get a lot of webs. Let's take a closer look at them first. So we get this kind of, I'm guessing this is like a swinging web that will port into one of the hands. Really nice sculpt. Pretty just, you know, one tone of white all over it. It looks like a whipping web from this end, but we do get a sort of handle here. So I do like the design of these webs. They all have a really nice sculpt. Here's a shorter one here, but very similar. This one will go round the wrist though. We can slot them in at the end and see how it looks. We get this really long one with this, and I don't know if this web has something to do with this wee accessory here. I have no idea what this is. If you know what it is, let me know down in the comments section. This is my first real Mafex figure. The fake one did come with this as well. I do have the fake here that I'm sure I'm going to be doing a lot of comparisons with in this video, but yeah, I've got a second one of these and I still have no idea what it is. If it goes in this bit or something, that's just a guess. Let me know down below. And then we get another one of these medium length webs, nice sculpt, same white paint on it, and then two short ones. Yeah, not much to say. I do kind of wish there was maybe another lick of paint on this and it wasn't just the one tone, but the sculpt is really cool. Yeah, I like that a lot. We get this loose mask that I once again think ports into one of the hands, and we can check out how that looks later. Definitely going to be getting a lot of photos of this figure from my Instagram, so if I do miss anything in this video, I'll post some pictures up on there. All these hands, man, look at all these hands. This is awesome. We get a sort of web swinging hand. I'm sure the web will port through this one here. Two of them. I really like how they are all ported in on this bit of plastic. The fake one definitely didn't have that in that box, so yeah, really like how they're not going to go anywhere. They're all ported in here and I'm not going to lose them. This just looks like a fisted hand. Both of them look good. We get our open wall crawling hands, and we do actually get magnetic versions of these as well, and we can see them here. Don't really have anything magnetic I can try this on right now, but once again, hopefully get something on my Instagram. I'm sure the magnets will work fine. Do I have... yeah, sticking to a wee magnetic ball that's on the tripod there. I'm not going to be able to show that off. Same with the feet, we get some magnetic feet, and then we get some whipping hands hiding in the back here. All these look good. Nothing that's standing out to me as being an issue. All sculpted nicely, good paint on them. I'm glad we get that massive bundle of accessories there. That is awesome. And then we get the interchangeable heads, and let's take a closer look at this one, because I've noticed that they've not quite captured all that paint there. You can see the lens, it's still a bit red at the side. I wish that black went right over, and I'm too scared to touch it up myself at the top of the lens as well. So there's two bits that the black's missing. That is quite annoying. Yeah, this lens looks perfect, the black's covering it all, but that other one, yikes, I wasn't expecting that on a legit version of this figure. It's something that I spoke about with the fake one, and yeah, to see it on this real version is a bit disappointing, but the overall sculpt looks awesome and the rest of the paint is really good. We can see it's kind of bundled up here at the neck, but I'm not too bothered about that. I'm just more bothered about that lens there. Overall though, it does look cool as heck. And then something that is definitely an improvement from the knockoff is this Peter Parker head sculpt. I think this Peter Parker head sculpt looks awesome. It's something a bit different. It's unlike the Marvel Legends head sculpts. It looks pretty comic accurate. I think it looks really cool. The flesh tone and everything on it is great. The sculpt's fantastic. The hair looks really good. And here's the knockoff version. Yeah, like what an improvement. That was definitely the biggest downfall of the knockoff in my opinion. Everything else with the knockoff was surprisingly good. This Peter Parker head sculpt was absolutely horrendous, and I mean the difference is night and day. This Peter Parker head sculpt is so cool. I'm so glad that we get this, and I can't wait to swap them over later on. And then we get the figure itself, and he's looking badass. There are a couple things though. This arm here seems a bit loose. It seems like it's not really ported in properly. I can push it in and then it looks alright, and then when I play around with it, it just doesn't seem to be ported in correctly. It seems like there's something wrong with that peg, which is a bit worrisome, especially because this is probably the most expensive figure in my collection at this point. I normally stick to the Marvel Legends. I forked out a wee bit more, and I seem to be getting problems that I wasn't expecting to have. The paint issue on this lens here, then this dodgy joint. I paid £16 for the knockoff version, and that's 100% things I'd expect to get on this figure. You know, the lenses is missing some paint here and there. It's not very solid. This butterfly joint's really stiff. I thought getting the real version, you know, all that would be out the window, but yeah, I've got the problem with the lens. I have the problem with the joint here. I don't know what it is, but you know, let's stop complaining. Let's take a closer look at the figure. And he's looking so badass, man. Like, this is definitely my favourite figure that's capturing a comic Spidey look. This look of Spider-Man is something else. Like, Marvel Legends don't have any Spider-Man that looks like this. It's one of a kind. This Mafex Spidey is probably my favourite comic looking Spidey figure, and I'm so glad to have it in my collection. Especially just the head sculpt. This head sculpt is so awesome. It's definitely my favourite. I prefer it to this one, and not only just because of the paint issue I've got in this lens, I just generally prefer the look to the eyes and everything on this one here, and the paint seems to be absolutely 100% on this baddie. Like, that white in the eye is super solid. Once again, if we pull in the fake here, we can see the white's just not quite there. It's a bit chipped in places, especially in that one when I've been taking pictures of it. That black dot's been so annoying. This one is just perfect. It looks amazing. The black around the lenses looks perfect. All the lines I've filled in quite nicely. Yeah, I really like this Spider-Man head sculpt. Then we get the body, and it's looking really good as well. Really crisp. Really like that spider logo. All the lines look great, especially in the butterfly joints and everything. It's really held up, and I was worried when I saw the black that was bundled up at the head sculpt there, especially in this one here. I was worried there was going to be some paint issues on the body, but it seems to have held up pretty well. All the lines look really good. The sculpt's really nice. Really like that back logo, but I'm not going to lie, this reissue, this blue, I'm not a big fan. I don't dislike it. I think it is fine, but if I generally had to choose between the original release and the reissue, I do prefer the blue of this original version much more. I know this is a knockoff. I'm not saying I prefer the knockoff. I just prefer that sort of blue over this really shiny one. Yeah, I kind of wish that it was made more clear when they were announcing the reissue of this figure. I saw they were reissuing it, I jumped on it because, as I mentioned, I love this look of Spider-Man. They then released the new repaint, which I also have ordered and we'll take a look at on the channel. If I knew the blue was going to look like this on the reissue, I would have just stuck with the repaint. I'm happy to have this, but just not a massive fan of the blue. Once again, don't dislike it, just prefer the other two Mafex 075 Spider-Man figures. Well, I suppose the repaint isn't 075, but you know what I mean. Looking at the blue, it is pretty solid, just shiny throughout. It looks good, just not my personal favourite. And then get the legs, and they're looking pretty good as well. Let's compare this figure to some other Spideys in the collection. So first up in the comparisons, we have the reissued Mafex Spidey legit next to the fake knockoff £16 AliExpress Spider-Man. And I don't want to sound like a complete jackass, but actually getting this legit one is really kind of reinforced how good this knockoff is. Yeah, I'm going to recommend the legit one over it. I do want to respect the art of figures and everything, and of course if you can get a real version, go for it. But if you do not want to spend that really high price mark, then the £16 knockoff isn't a bad option here. The paint is so much better on the real version, and that's undisputed. But I seem to be having the same problems with the real one that I have with the fake. Dodgy joint in the left arm, paint just not up to scratch on the head sculpt. Bit disappointing with the real version if I'm being honest, but this definitely is the better figure. But of course you're paying for it as well. And then we have our Mafex reissue next to the Marvel Legends retro carded Spider-Man. Everyone's favourite Spider-Man Marvel Legends, or is it? Is that changed since we got the Renew Your Vows and the Amazing Fantasy? It seems like we're going to get a lot of new favourite Spider-Man figures, but this was the standard go-to for quite a while there, and that showed on the aftermarket. The prices for this figure absolutely shot up, and to get this new in card, you were paying around the same price for this Mafex Spider-Man, and I was really interested to compare these two figures. At the end of the day, I love them both. I think this design does just take it for me. The fact that you get so many accessories with this Mafex Spider-Man definitely, I think, makes it superior to the Marvel Legends. I mean, we didn't even get an alternative head sculpt, we didn't even get wall crawling hands, but coming down to the look, the articulation and everything, this is a really good figure. Marvel Legends did really nail this, and they continue to improve on it. And here we have the Renew Your Vows 2-pack Spider-Man Marvel Legends figure, which I spoke about quite a bit in the video that I did on him, so feel free to check that out. I definitely prefer the look to the comic Mafex Spidey over the Renew Your Vows, but talking about the improvements Marvel Legends have been making, we've got the pinless tech and toe articulation on this guy. It just goes to show that Marvel Legends are giving us great Spider-Man figures that are at really the same level as these way more expensive import figures. Yeah, at the end of the day, I'm going to choose this one over the Renew Your Vows, but it's not far off. And then we have our reissue Spidey next to the Fearsome Foes Toy Biz Spider-Man, which is probably one of my favourite Spider-Man figures in my collection at the moment. I'm not going to compare these guys too much, I'm not going to say what one's better. I think it's pretty harsh to compare these two, but I did just want to see them side by side as two of my favourite Spider-Man figures that I now own. So I'll try and run over all the articulation on this figure. You can get the head looking pretty far up. I'm cautious that it will probably pop out. Oh, there we go, straight away. Pop that back on, and we'll try again. It will move about that far up, about that far down, which is great, and it's popped off again. You can move the head left and right, and it will pivot around as well, and as you can see, you can move that neck quite a lot as well. Get the arm moving about that far up, and this is the dodgy arm, so I'm going to be careful. Get it about that far in at the body, and it will pop out, as you can see, which definitely isn't meant to happen. Upper bicep swivel, double jointed elbow there. There's nothing in the forearm, but you can move the wrist pegs backwards and forwards. I have seen a lot of folk on Instagram selling spare pegs, and I think they are known to snap, so once again I'm going to be very careful there. Same articulation in this arm here. You can move him around at the chest, backwards, forwards, rotate that round. He's going to go everywhere. You can move it forward and backwards in the ab area, and you can rotate that left and right as well. Get the leg kicking really far forward, about Oh, really far back, that's awesome. We'll drop down, double jointed knees, nothing in the calf area. You can get the foot moving backwards, forwards, it will pivot, and you get toe articulation. So I was about to wrap up the video and give my final thoughts. I popped on the Peter Parker head. What is going on with this figure? Like, the neck of the Peter Parker head sculpt, that's a completely different red to the rest of the figure, and I have a feeling that they've just given us the original Peter Parker head sculpt without changing it with this reissue with a different paint job, and it looks really odd. It doesn't even look like it's flush, like it looks weird, and that red does not match. Am I being punked? I don't know. And so there we have it for a reissued Mafex Spider-Man figure, and he's pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie, I feel like I'm a bit underwhelmed. This is the first legit Mafex I'm adding to the collection. Spent a fair bit of money on them, they are expensive, these import figures, and yeah, I can't help but to feel a little let down. I mean, he looks awesome, he does look really cool. I loved playing around with the knockoff, so I'm sure I'm gonna have so much fun posing this guy around for my Instagram. All the accessories are insane, it's so good to get that amount of accessories with a figure. But the figure itself has its problems, and I can't ignore that. I mean, the head sculpt here, the paint missing on the lenses really isn't ideal. Then the loose joint on his left arm, I can't believe that. I'm honestly really annoyed with that bit. I'm scared that he's gonna break, it's not sitting right, it looks odd. Just not something I expected to get with the legit Mafex. And then I didn't bring it up in the video, I wasn't too sure, but posing him here for the end, his legs are definitely warped as well, just being in the box. I mean, I've just opened them out and the legs seem warped, and that's really annoying. It looks odd when he's standing in a neutral pose. Also, minor comment, but I did want to port the loose mask in. Oh, here it is here. I wanted to port that in the hand. I cannot get it to sit in the hands that he's got in, and none of these ones over here look like it's going to hold it. So yeah, bit lost with that as well. Let me know down in the comments if there's something I'm missing, and please let me know what this is. I have no idea. Yeah, I mean, overall it's a good figure, it's an expensive figure. This one has its flaws. I mean, even the Peter Parker head sculpt, which I was so stoked with, there's something about it that doesn't quite look right when he's facing the front. And the red on the neck seems completely mismatched. I mean, just another thing that has irked me a bit. Yeah, I'm just going to stop talking. I need to break this figure in a bit more. Need to pose him around for my Instagram. I'm going to give him a thumbs up. I am going to recommend him, but I am going to point out that this figure does have some major flaws in my opinion. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. While you're down there, if you could do me a massive favour, if you liked the video, please hit that thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, guys, please hit that subscribe button. I'll leave the link to my Instagram in the description below. Feel free to hop on over to the channel page. There are plenty of Spider-Man videos up on there, a lot of Marvel Legends, Toy Biz, Spideys. Yeah, been a lot if you could check that out. Thank you so much for watching this video right here, and as always, I'll catch yous on the flip-flop later. Cheers.